Hello, everyone. This is Coach Toyin speaking. Welcome to today's session. Um, this is going to be really, really powerful, impactful. So, over the past couple of weeks, I've been teaching classes on emotional intelligence in my school. You can visit Toyin Umesiri to learn more about the programs there. And one of the things I wanted to just share right now is about stories, not just stories through the lens of branding, like externally, but actually stories around emotional management, self regulation. Okay. So when it comes to the journey of success, emotion is a part of your journey, right? When it comes to achieving success, yes, there's IQ, right? Being smart, knowledge, intellect. There's the spiritual psychology, spiritual side of energy management. There's also the skills you're going to develop, right, to pursue and achieve and to create the realities that you desire. But one of the most powerful things about humans is we're thinking and emotional beings, and emotion, energy in motion, when it is mismanaged, when it's not properly managed, right, you're going to see that in your reality. One thing that is also important is that when it comes to everything that we're pursuing, in a way, we're buying and selling emotions. Feel good. We all want to feel good. So we buy things that make us feel good, smell good, we eat good, well being. As humans, we pursue things that are connected to how we want to feel, right? So there's a key part of our business that is tied to emotional intelligence, how you communicate with other people, how you serve them, how you make them feel, on and on and on. So your success is tied to how you manage your own emotions, how you manage the emotions of other people as well. This is tied to overall well-being. So when I teach, I always try to focus not just on technical competency in terms of sales, marketing, branding, really the technical standpoint. I teach a whole lot of that. But one of the things that I know is very, very important is that your journey, your entrepreneurship journey, your life journey, your relationships, all of those things are tied to how you manage your own emotions and the emotions of the people you want to do relationship with. Okay? So this is very important. This is very powerful. And what I'm going to share and cover today is the power of stories. Again, not just through the lens of branding and marketing, because we have a ton of workbooks that cover, right, when you want to message, when you want to brand. We have series and series of programs in my school, Toyin Umesiri Academy. But this one is more personal, right? How you how you actually your own well-being. What I'm going to share with you today is about your well-being. The emotional intelligence course for entrepreneurs. I also share like PowerPoints and technical aspects of many of the things you need to learn, right? If you want to manage yourself better, and then if you want to support other people. We also have the course on emotional intelligence for coaches. If you want to coach other people into success, how do you structure that? Right? How do you make sure that your coaching business is more successful, more impactful, more transformational, right? And then there's emotional intelligence for sale. But today, just stories, okay? So, welcome everyone. Greetings. We have different platforms running. So, thank you so much. Thank you. There's Clubhouse, there's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, right? Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you all. If you're new to the space, please feel free to let me know where you're joining from. You can comment, you can let us know where you're joining from. If you have any questions, you can also drop that. Also, if you want to engage, if anything I said resonates with you, please share that. You can just type what you're walking away with as I continue to teach. Okay? So stories, stories are powerful. They actually shape realities, right? Our realities. The stories we actually tell ourselves, right? They shape our realities. Now, let me set the stage by sharing one thing as well. For those in my school, they already understand this. I always say, like, with the mind, our experience in life, we take in data, we take in information, right? You observe, we have the five senses in the physical realm. You use your five senses, you see, you smell, you taste, you touch, you hear. All of those is like gathering data. You're gathering data, you're gathering experiences, right? That's why 10 people can be in the same space, can share spaces, can experience the same thing, but walk away with different stories. So there's perspective, conclusions, how we arrive at decisions, on and on and on. That is personal. That's why I always talk about inner work. 10 people can sit through the same lesson, can be in the same class, being taught by the same person, being delivered the same information, they can have the same workbook, they can have the same resources. However, what they extract from that experience is going to be very much tied to who they are. Okay? This is why I started teaching this type of things, because we can teach a lot of technical things, which I have in my school, but I had to start creating 360 human performance development, right? Strategies, because at the end of the day, if you want exceptional results, you have to manage emotions because of their influence on behavior, on and on, which I'll connect the dots for you today. Okay. So again, this is how we are wired. Okay, so this is understanding self. When we went to school, right, traditional education system, right, was designed to help you develop IQ, intellectual, right, to help you develop intellectually, your ability to read books, synthesize it, use it to develop skills, implement it, right, use it to do work. The traditional school system helped us develop that skill. What it hasn't done for most people, and this is why you owe yourself this work, it didn't teach people how to be intelligent about your own being, you and other people you're doing life with, and like the world, right? The people who occupy your community, the planet Earth, right? Or right, it didn't bother to tell us that there's a certain type of intelligence, right? That is tied to self discovery, self awareness, self leadership, right? Self regulation, self control, everything that has to do with you, right? In a way, the saddest thing actually, which is why this work is so important, why you have to invest in doing this work, is that instead, it's not just that it didn't teach us, it's actually disconnected us from ourselves. It's like we've been torn apart. Now you have to bring yourself back together. So it's actually worse than it didn't teach us. Not only didn't it teach us, it actually disconnected the mind body connection. It's like your mind was nurtured separate of yourself, how it felt, or how life feels to you, how you're moving through life. In fact, you were trained to deny your emotions. Right? The world out there did not want to see with your emotions, cope with your emotions, deal with your emotions. So many people had to mask. We've been trained to mask emotion, to put forward a face that is acceptable to society. Okay? While you hide the real stuff. So this is real. I'm going deeper. Okay? I'm going really deeper. Hi, welcome. Great day. Yes, it is a great day and great resource that I'm teaching today. So tell your friends to pull up, invite more people in. So not only did the traditional education system, right, not help us understand and give us the intelligence, the knowledge of self, of you. You're occupying yourself. Listen, this is what you've got. This is how you experience this reality. The journey of this life, it's in your body. This is your life. But that intelligence of self, of being knowledgeable, of being connected to your body, the nervous system, how what's going on in your mind triggers your body to process certain emotions and then release it and let it go. We weren't taught that. In fact, even in nurturing, you weren't told how to manage your anger, your frustrations, joy, all of these natural emotions of life that you will have to handle the rest of your life for your own well-being and the well-being of everybody you want to do life with, whether in business, whether in personal relationship, whether with your kids. Because ultimately, what does success mean? It's not just about money. Success is overall well-being. I hope you're pursuing the right level of success for yourself. There are people who have money, but they don't have this peace of mind I'm talking about. Okay? So it's about coming back home and being okay with being a human. What does it mean to be human? And what does it mean to serve other human beings? What does it mean to serve yourself? Are you safe with yourself? Are you safe with other people? Right? Are you safe with being inside you? Okay, is this too deep? Because in my school we go deep. We do the inner work. We leave the world alone, we leave people alone, and then we focus on ourselves and we cultivate our wealthy self, the right mindset. Okay? So this is so powerful, and I just pray and hope people will just sit with this. So here you are. You've invested in the mind. You have the degrees, level, listen, smart. You're achieving all the things you want to achieve intellectually. But are you connected to your own emotion? So stories connect us to ourselves and to other people. Okay? This is how we process. So when our mind takes in data, takes in information, processes it, it tries to store it. But because we are not machines that is just 010101, I have a technology background. The best way to store stories is just to store data within us. This is just who we are, how we are made up. I hope you will study yourself, right? I always talk about self-discovery. I hope you will discover the insights and your own makeup. That ought to be a requirement. Know thyself. Know thyself. So our makeup is that when we take in those experiences, in order for it to store, storage and retrieval, we want to say, okay, what does this mean? Right? What does this mean? Everything you're experiencing, your mind is asking you, what does it mean? Okay? So that's why 10 people can see through the same lessons. And when your mind says, what does it mean? The mind gets to work. The story it's going to make up and it's going to be dependent on all the data points you already have within yourself. It's relative to you, your life experiences, your journey so far, everything you've gathered all through life up until every single experience, right? Your conclusions about that experience and the story you tell yourself that your mind crafts and presents to you for acceptance or rejection, that story is actually shaped. It's shaped by you. So there's the experience, but then there's the story you walk away with from the experience. What you extract from every experience is going to be influenced by the collective, the accumulation of data that you've already been exposed to. Okay? It's just like if you asked a question of ChatGPT. ChatGPT cannot pull from thin hair what it hasn't been programmed. The story what it's going to share with you, right, will be a synthesis of everything it was fed, right? It will synthesize, it will take direction from what it was already fed by and your emotions and all of those things. In a way, you are the one guiding what types of stories you want to believe. And this gets quite dynamic because From childhood, we've been building up on stories, right? This thing has been happening from childhood. Experiences, we come up with stories, we study stories based on what we identify with, we store it within ourselves, it becomes part of you, it becomes part of your behavior. You start showing up based on your belief system because your stories shape your belief system and things you identify with. And so soon enough, it will shape your behavior. You start acting in accordance to your belief system. So you get exposed again, you form new stories. So there are tons of stories within you, right? In our storage capacity, we have different so many stories. Okay? We are made up of stories. And the stories shape our belief systems. And our belief system that they are the things we identify with. And so how we show up, okay, is a representation of what we believe. Okay? So how you show up in life is a representation of what you believe. This is who I am. Okay? So who you are today, who you are presenting to the world is based on your belief system. You are showing up based on what you believe, right? So then the question is, do you really know what you believe? Because there's a conscious and subconscious. Do you know the stories within you? What are the sources of those stories? How healthy are those stories? What has shaped your identity? Is this who you want to be? Right? Because who you are is who you agreed to be. One of my programs, I talk about the programming is that anytime, at any point in time, you can disagree with any story within you. You can disrupt yourself. When we talk about mindset, you can reset, you can reset yourself. When I talk about quantum leap, is that if if the pattern, okay, that you've been searching for in the world, the stories you've been making up, okay, if you evaluate them, if you take a moment to then ask yourself, is this what I want to believe? The moment you say no, you've destroyed that story. The moment you say yes, it's part of your system. It's your identity. So actually the practice of evaluating your stories through self-reflection, right? Self-assessment, being transparent and honest with yourself, interrogating your realities, putting those stories under a microscope. Your relationship with the truth is what will help you craft honest stories of boldness, of courage that will give you the audacity to be successful. Because trust me, there are many stories people are telling themselves just because they believe it. It is true for them. Whatever you tell yourself that you believe will shape your identity. You look in the mirror, you look at the person in the mirror, and you ask yourself, is this the identity? Because your identity will shape your reality, it shapes your behavior, and the actions and steps you take will generate the reactions and the realities you're going to get out of life. So, this work is actually a relationship with truth. So, your story, are they true or false? Any story that bubbles up, oh, this is that, whatever those stories are, start asking yourself, is this true or false? Is this true or false? Because the reason is, if you don't apply a new level of filter and you're just taking it in, you don't realize that you have control. Self-control is part of controlling what you are believing, that it gets into your being. You are to control, you are the gatekeeper. You're the gatekeeper of your mind, of your soul, of your heart, of your being. And if the gatekeeper is sleeping, if the gatekeeper is clueless, if the gatekeeper is ignorant and is letting everything in, soon you will be confused. You will be living a confused reality, tied to a confused identity. Your behavior will be in conflict. This drives self-sabotage. Suddenly you say, I want to build a business. I want this, I want that. But guess what? The identity you've taken on of a limitation will not help you get what you want. Everything is connected. This is serious stuff. This is really, really serious stuff. I don't know why they don't teach us. I don't know why they do not teach us how to understand me, you, me. Because once you know you, that's it. Leave everybody else alone. Let them do them. You do you. Because the super highway of life, just because we are traveling the same road, doesn't mean we are going to the same places. You see, cars are moving everywhere. You don't stop and start engaging with other people's car. Some people are practicing road rage. Don't let them delay you. I always joke, oh my gosh. I always tell, okay, so when I'm consulting or coaching entrepreneurs, sometimes people will come up with this story. I tried this, it didn't happen. I tried that. This person is this person is that. They've concocted all these stories. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Time out. If you're a soccer player and your goal, you came to the field to win, to score and win, and someone starts tackling you, please don't stay with that person and come up with story and start, well, you will lose the game. They'll blow the whistle and you lose. Many people are losing the game of life simply because they've made a full-time job of telling stories of what other people did, blah blah blah. They, them, is the government, is the this, is the that, is the that, is the that. Stories, and then spiraling, confusion. And I'm going, break that cycle. What do you really want? If what you want is to win, you need to learn how to dribble. You need to learn how to develop skills that will make you, bypass all the other people dribbling you. And you just avoid them, you know. Watch those super football, soccer players. They don't, the skill you need in life. That's why I talk about the game plan, 12 strategies for winning in life and business. Listen, set your gaze on your goals. Set your gaze on what you want and go for it. And anything that is a distraction, figure out strategies to navigate. All you have to do is just be navigating. Don't make a full-time job staying with your opponent and arguing. Right? Bible says, blessed is he who do not stand in the way of sinners, sit in the council of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. Focus on you and God. But you find people standing in the way, sitting in the wrong place, engaging in discussion, wasting time, wasting energy, and then on Sunday we say, oh Lord, help me. I say, help yourself too. As God is helping you, help yourself by your decisions. So stories are incredibly powerful. So the first lesson is filter your stories by interrogating what's going on within you. If you don't apply the right filter, anything goes. You're accepting everything. If somebody says this is this, you say yes. Newspaper says this is you say yes. You are not an independent thinker. They are thinking for you and feeding you identity. Very soon, they will say, which party do you identify with? You choose them because you've believed all the stories they told you. You're not neutral. Very soon, they will say, people who want you to identify with them will feed you some stories. They will feed you marketing. They will market to you. They will say, oh, this is the enemy. You say, yes, enemy. They say, they are the friends. You say, yes, they are the friends. Are you for us? You say, yes, we are for you. Suddenly, you will start acting the way they're acting, repeating their lingo, right? Because you've identified with all the stories they told you, you believe everything they've said. Now you are shaped like that. This is how we form culture and community, right? Culture. But trust me, if that culture is toxic, very soon you will buy into all of the belief system. Soon you see the manifestation of that reality in your life. Everything is connected. I'm connecting the dots. Greetings, everyone. If you have any questions, drop it. Let me know your thoughts. This is deep. You have to sit with this. Like 2024 is the year of emotional intelligence training in my school. Like we have tons of classes on EQ for entrepreneurs, for sales, for coaches. This one, I'm just like, let me bring a little bit out there so that people will know. Like, it's the end of the year. People are trying to, reflect, assess, strategize, set new goals, plan. Hopefully, this will be a tool that you can sit with and make use of as you're trying to design. Is it new year, new you? I don't know. It's up to you. But stories, right? When we experience life, again, 10 people can experience the same thing. We can see the same data, the same information. But when it gets into your system, your own system, yes, they'll talk about digestive system, nervous system. You are a compound of who systems, nervous systems, this system, that system. That's like, listen, the human body is an incredible, incredible, incredible being. The way God fashioned us is, whoo, right? Like I don't know. That's why I said study you for right spiritual maturity, emotional maturity, intellectual maturity, physical well-being. That ought to be our full-time job. That's why the world wasn't designed after this. I don't know. I don't know. But guess what? What I have done, my contribution to the world, is I've built my own space, right? And I invite people to enroll in my school and to access all those things and more. If you want to quantum leap, if you want to achieve success faster, and you don't want to go all crazy figuring out, where do I turn? Is it left? There's so many questions we all have. Where do you find answers? Right? So one of those is this. Be careful the stories you're crafting. We as a being, let's say we are story being. There's a story system within us, just like you have the nervous system, digestive system, um, you name it, respiratory system, all the systems. I believe there's already also a story system. There's a story system. We think in stories, right? We experience stories. We love stories. We pursue stories. We buy stories. We watch movies, right? Every single day is a story. It's a storybook. Your mind, everything you're experiencing, you're saying, good, I enjoyed the movie. Guess what? So it's filed into your system. The story of today. Okay? The story of today. This is where I went. 8 a.m. This is what I did. 9 a.m. That is a story. How you spent your day. That's a story. What you think about life. That's a story. What you encountered on your way to your job. That's a story. Who said hello to you? That's a story. Who didn't say hello to you? That's a story. Who triggered you? That's a story. Why did they trigger you? Another story. Why are you upset? Story. Why are you afraid? Story. Why can't you become an entrepreneur? Story. Why do you love your job? Story. Why don't you love your job? Story. Why don't you why are you single? Story. Why are you married? Story. Everything is a story. Any question I ask you, you're going to respond to your judgment, your assessment, your conclusions. Right? Any question, if I ask you any question, because life is always asking you question. What do you want? It's a story. Why do you want it? It's a story. Where are you going? It's a story. How did you become a lawyer? It's a story. Why did you choose your profession? It's a story. The story is always, who are you trying to become? The decisions you're making, okay, is tied to the story you ultimately want for your future. Mhm. What are you buying? You are buying the future you want. Why did you buy the handbag? It's a story. Why are you wearing this shoe? It's a story. It makes you feel a certain way. Why did you go to school? It's a story. So there's a story, there are story systems. The choices we're making is because of the story we want to embody, who you want to be. So ask this question. These stories that is coming at you, that your mind is presenting to you, yes or no? Because the moment you say yes, it doesn't really matter if the story is true or false. The moment you say yes to a story, that story will just go soup into your system. Once it's in your system, it will shape your identity. Once it shapes your identity, you start acting in accordance to that story. Right? Like reflex, like without even thinking anymore. It goes into your subconscious. Very soon, it drives your life. That's why you have to go back and dig up. There are stories you need to dig out, right? They've been programmed into your operating system. They're the ones ruining and messing up. You take two steps forward, one step back, or one step forward, two step back. Anytime you find your patterns in your right reality that is unfavorable, go back to your stories. Start asking yourself, why am I acting this way? Why am I attracting this? Something is off somewhere. Dig it out, reject it, and suddenly you start seeing a different version of you. And once you change, reality changes as well. Okay. So I want to leave you with just key tips. Okay. Number one, stories. When a story bubbles, and the story could be about yourself, it could also be about somebody else, it could also be about the world in general. Because when people come close to you, you're going to process them as a story. And the story is it a pleasant story or an unpleasant story? Positivity or negativity? If it is positive, they will be attractive, you will move closer to such people. If that story is negative, you're likely to say, you know what, I need to stay, right? Because this is what we talk about, emotional safety, um, toxicity, there are clashes in identity, belief system, that you just find out that you can't do life with certain types of thought process. It's always thoughts, right? The person you've chosen to become and the person that others have decided to become, it's opposing, it's in opposition. So when you talk about really, that's more advanced. I won't go too much into that. But when you start talking about compatibility, um, how safe do you feel in the presence of people? How do people make you feel? This is not just what they are saying; it's energy, because emotion is right. Energy in motion is that just by being in the presence of certain people, you may not feel right, or you may feel high, you may be happy, you may be joyful. If somebody smiles at you, you smile back. If somebody doesn't smile at you, it will affect your own emotion. So we actually influence the emotion of one another. So if somebody has taken on an identity, right, that every time you expose yourself to that identity, it messes up your own identity, because you do not identify with their own stories, or and they do not identify with yours. The person you are and the person they are, not in relation with one another. You will tend to find certain things, right? You have to also manage that. But that's why I said that is more advanced, right? But people tend to talk about compatibility when it comes to personal relationships. Are you It just means, listen, the way you think and the way I think, the person you've chosen to become and the person I've chosen to become, when you put us together, are we going to combust or live in happily ever after? Belief system clashes. When you think about parties, election, right? Culture, peoples, community. This is who we are. This is who they are. There's a session I've held like maybe over a year ago. I broke down how culture is shaped, common beliefs. When you identify with one another, there are things we can do together. If I don't identify with you, I'm not listening to you, on and on and on and on, so that we just have awareness, right? As we hope to serve people around the world, as we hope to connect with people, if you want to connect more with people, you have to connect on common grounds. So I've done that session before. It's been a long time. If you want a copy of it, reach out to me. It's very powerful, very very powerful, because as a business owner, if you want to serve people, you have to connect, right? You have to connect with people. So you need to understand how to connect with other people, and it's part of emotional intelligence as well. Upon what ground do you connect with people? Do you right? Common grounds. Okay, that's another session. But anyway, as I'm wrapping up, right? Stories. We move closer to stories, or we move away from stories. So certain experiences, if we've arrived at a conclusion, even in the emotional intelligence course, right? I covered so much, but one of the things I also covered is how we arrive, how we make decisions, because the quality of your decisions will influence how successful you'll be. Many people jump to conclusions because um how they process experiences, okay, is not rich enough. Remember, I talked about the data within you is what you would use to come up with those stories. So if you're somebody that you've been consuming types of shows and movies, and you're taking it in and reading certain types of books, trust me, you are forming the foundation of your stories, your storybook, the story your life will write. Everything you feed yourself, everything you read, the movies, on and on. You're loading up, you're loading up, you're loading up. You don't know that that is the data point. You're feeding your chat GPT, your AI system. Not artificial, now it's natural, right? The one God gave you. You feed it raw data. When experiences happen, it will synthesize all you fed it and say, this is what happened. This is the story. So you can actually shape and influence the underlying data bank of your system by exposing yourself to richer stories, superior stories, stories of success. That's what my school is about. When you nourish yourself with more knowledge, possibility, you have this sense of possibility. Because many people identify as, oh, they cannot do this because of this. I've tried this before. It's because your data bank has concluded that that is your story. And so you are just recounting those stories. So anytime you find yourself saying, oh, I want this job, they will not give this job to this. Somebody told me this, then this is this. I want this, but they told me this. Those are stories. Where did those stories come from? Your exposure. Who you exposed yourself with, who programmed you, who you said yes to, the books you read, the school you went to, what you exposed yourself with is now the foundation of the quality of stories your life will continue to present. So if you want higher quality stories, stories that will tell you, right, you can build $1 million business, or you can be a billionaire, or you can do anything. If you want a story that tells you you can do anything in the world, you need to start exposing yourself to such data points that removes limitations from your life, because there are some stories that people have crafted that has, right, told you are limited, right? Somebody told you you cannot do this. Somebody told you you cannot do that. Or you watched a movie, or somebody told you their story and say, oh, wow. Oh, if it happened to that person, then it's going to happen to you. You see, this is what the mind does. If you don't train your mind, by default, it will just present what happened to them is happening to you. And you say, oh, now you're afraid. Now anxiety. Where did all those things come from? Exposure. Because remember, you came into this world as a blank slate, blank. But You were programmed. Systems, nature, nurture. You programmed yourself, you made choices, right? And how you program yourself, very soon, it will be showing you stories and stories and stories. Now I'm saying, don't immediately believe all of those stories, particularly if those stories is not what you want. Right? So I'm just saying, start introducing filters within you, right? Start interrogating, intercept those thoughts and question yourself. This is why it's talked about truth. Anybody that cannot face truth, anybody that cannot challenge themselves, look in the mirror and say, God, give it to me. Shine your light on my heart. Shine your light in my mind. Show me what I'm doing wrong. Anybody that cannot do that, listen, pride goes before a fall, right? That's what they talk about, right? You don't know what you don't know. Hmm? So, one of the things is exposing yourself to light, exposing yourself to light, new insights, study to show yourself approved. God said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. If you have limited knowledge, the stories you'll be delivering to yourself will be at that level. Your stories are, the quality of your stories is shaped by the quality of your exposure. You can change your stories, but introduce a filter. Now, there's another filter, there's positive filter, there's negative, right? Because that filter even is influenced by identification, what you're identifying with, right? That's why the power in the word of God, the Bible, right? It's so incredible. Is if you identify and say, God says, this is who I am, I died for you. The fruits of the spirit are like, it gives you all these beautiful things. You better, like, listen, if you don't align yourself, for those who are Christian, your job is to align yourself, right? Renew your mind. This book of the Lord shall not depart. People don't understand, like, why you need to wash yourself. Okay, this is, I'm telling you guys, there's science behind this thing, so that the stories you are coming up with hopefully is washed, and it's like, oh, you are loved. Oh, you. That's a beautiful story. Listen, that's a beautiful story. I'm loved. Because somebody that believes they are not loved, what identity would they take on? Quiz time. Take your pen. People who tell themselves the story that they are not loved, what will become? Because as human, whether you're 100 or 0, we all want to be loved. We all want to be seen. We all need love. We all need to be seen, respected, honored, cherished, loved. We listen, your well-being is tied to that. So imagine one person believes they are loved by their creator, another doesn't believe they are loved. What would that do to identity? What would that do to identity? It will mess the identity up. The negative will mess identity up. The positive one will be like freedom. If I believe I'm loved and I know I'm loved, I'm free. I'm checked, like, being here on earth to be a different experience. So, what's the source of the story? The stories, are they healthy? I also put some notes here, just to, if you're writing, just write this. Unhealthy stories shapes unhealthy beliefs, right? If you tell a story you're not loved and you then believe you're not loved, it will now result in unhealthy identity. You start identifying like you're not loved. Wah, 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 wah. Nobody does this. Nobody likes it. Nobody loves me. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. Nobody like, wah, wah, wah. You start whining, whining. You know that's the the noise I'm making. He sounds that way. It all started with stories. And the moment that person identifies, how will such a person behave? The person who believes, who tells the story they are not loved, believes they are not loved, right? Identifies, takes on an identity that is lacking in love, right? So there's a gap, there's a hole in that person's heart. What would the person be doing to fill that gap? What will the person's behavior, what would they have to do to fill the emptiness? Hmm? The person will be looking for love in the wrong places because they've told themselves there's a gap. But trust me, when you carry Bible and God say I love you, I'll say, oh, you load up on God's love. I'm not searching. I don't. You be full of love, and then you give. You have to give. You have the capacity to offer it to other people. You'll be able to say I love you. We love him because he first loved us. Now you are full of love. Now you can give love. If you haven't received love, you are empty. You are searching for it. So you are extracting. You are tapping, right? You are looking for love. But those who have received, have filled their hearts with God's love, and they believe that God loves them, and my identity is rooted and shaped in full love, 100% love, I will show up to share it with other people. So everybody around me will feel the love that is within me. That's why you feel yourself first. Otherwise, you will be going after the wrong things. You see, that's just one example. Love. That's just a fundamental example of the being that we are. Once something is missing, once you tell a story, you don't have this, so you don't have that, so you will be going through life lacking, and that is not attractive. When I say it's not attractive, it doesn't even bring you everything you want. So that's why we have to do the inner work. I don't know. Any any questions? This is deep. For those who want to go deeper, this is not about other people out there. Leave people alone. Come into your own private, find a private space, grab pen, paper. You should have notebooks everywhere, pens everywhere, and do this work. Okay? We should have pen, notebooks everywhere. This is hopefully this is a good time to do this self-reflective work, right? This is a good season, right? To I hope I mean I hope that you're just searching within yourself. Enough of that stuff. Doesn't it get tiring? That's where stress lives in. Control. I always say, like, most people want to control what they cannot control, and then they leave what they can control uncontrolled. Hear me well. There are many things in life you have zero control over. Who the president is, what they do, the decisions they are making, the economy, your boss, everybody out there, zero control. But the one thing that you can control is you. So when people abandon this number one project, control of self control, and then everything out there they cannot control, but now they are attempting to control. You're trying to control other people, control your spouse, control your employer, control the government, even control the country. This is where stress lives in. Control your boss, right? Right, because they are pulling on you. They are pulling on you. Their decisions, their actions, right, is affecting, is destabilizing your own emotion. Right? They are rocking your boots. But trust me, the sailor, all you can do is to steer yourself really well. Right, is to make sure these boats, you don't go down with with whatever they are doing. When I talk about economy, all of these things, when I'm teaching my entrepreneurs, this is why you build your business and you steer your business, because trust me, your employer can get up today and say sorry, thank you, you're done. All of a sudden it destabilizes your entire plan for your life. Other people's decisions, they have effect on you, but trust me, so you cannot control them, but you can decide for yourself. This is the life I want. This is how I choose to live that life. This is my legacy. This is how I want retirement to be. You can envision your own life and then manage your business, manage it. And anybody that doesn't use their time, energy, and resources to create the lives of their dreams that is in their control will continue to just be dependent on, right? So you're reading the newspaper. What will they do today? Because decisions of people you cannot control will influence your well-being. Emotional intelligence is very, very important. But I say start with you, right? Emotional safety, right? The stories you tell, the experiences you have, the stories are shaped by your exposure, the information you've gathered, your past, right? In the classes, I also talk about triggers. Why do we get triggered? Is a remembrance, right? Your mind will just repeat the last time such a thing happened. This was what we did, and you accepted it. So if anything similar happens, listen, you give it back. If you don't know how to rewire that stuff, you keep repeating that. So that's more complex, more advanced. It's in the class. You can access it at toyinumesiri.academy. And then apply that filter. Some people will filter the good and take the bad or the negative. What I'm saying is filter the negative, take the positive. Always try and see the positive side of life for your own well-being. See, the world doesn't listen, whatever you are deciding, the world doesn't care. Do you know? The decisions, unless you are the boss, your decisions will influence everybody in your company, right? But I'm saying, whatever you decide to believe for yourself, for the world, for everybody, the world doesn't really care. It doesn't change anything. But you know one thing, it changes you, your being. So this is about you, your own wellness. If you keep dosing negative stories, you will not feel it will affect your reality. Because when we take in data, the mind processes it, files it up, but also this is the other side of the equation of self-expression, which I covered in the class. Your ability to now express your thoughts, opinions, right, is also part of, right, self-expression, freedom, right? Many people don't have freedom of expression, so they mute themselves. That's another story. The reason you've told yourself, the story you've told yourself of why your voice doesn't matter, of why you shouldn't say your mind, of why you should mute yourself, or why you should talk this way and not that way, that you are not being authentically you, that the people around you don't really know you, but they know the mask, the side of you you've decided to present. The story, go back to the root. Why have you taken on this identity? You realize it's tied to a story. Maybe you believe that you're not safe, or they will not accept you as you are. On and on and on. It's a story. Behavior is, when you keep digging down into behavior, you go deep, you find a story. Why do you do what you do? Go deeper. Don't stay at the surface. Go deeper. You realize that it's a story that you believe, and a story of what you want other people to believe. So what you want other people to believe, you will act it out. Actors do this, right? We pay them a lot of money to watch their movie. They will act it out. They will act it out. What they want us to listen, actors will act it out. So we are all actors in a way. We act out the stories we believe, right? We act in accordance to what we believe. We take on an identity. It's like role play. If you believe you're a successful person, listen, the way you will carry yourself. If you believe you're loved, you will act it out. If you believe the world doesn't love you, you will act it out. If you believe the world loves you, you will act it out. We are all actors in this reality, in this dimension. We act out the stories we tell ourselves. We act out the stories we tell ourselves. We act out the stories we tell ourselves. Let me give you another example. Confidence. How confident are you? It's a story. If you don't believe in yourself, you will act it out. If you believe in yourself, you will act it out. Do you understand now? I'm trying to teach this in such a way that I always teach. I want people to remember. I want you to understand, right? So that's why I'm using different examples. We act out what we believe. We are actors. So whether you're confident or not, you decide. It's tied to your stories, what you believe. So if you think, listen, you're the best thing since sliced bread, look at kids. Look at kids. When kids believe they are loved, freedom of expression, joy, happiness, they act it out because they believe they are safe. A child that is not safe will clamp down, would hide. So even into adulthood, when you are safe, you are free to express, to listen, to be. You will act it out because you are free. The moment you go into a place you are not free, you mute. You'll be watching. They are watching you. You are unsafe. But you can override those stories. You can override those stories. And there's work you can do to gain strength to override all of those stories. Because if you don't override the stories will ride you. Okay? So I'm just giving practical examples. I just want to make sure, you have something to walk away with on this topic. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Let me wrap up. There's still so much more, but let me stop there. The emotional intelligence class, there's a bundle of classes at toyinumesiri.academy. I recommend it for everybody. Listen, traditional school system, they made us smart intellectually. But one thing that is missing, they disconnected the mind from the body. A lot of the confusion, the emotional state of the world, the disruptions, all of the everything you're seeing in the world now, you can track it down back to emotional instability. We've all been disrupted. COVID did its own thing. Now we are trying to pick up. We are trying to patch ourselves. Put it all back. Let me. Oh my god. Oh, we are all in this together, guys. You're not alone. Your whole world was thrown, right? Like a table. Boom. Now we are like, where is my shoe? Where is my bag? Where is my confidence? Where, right? Put yourself back. We have to put ourselves, but where do you go to? The tools. Put yourself back together. If your mind is here, your heart is there, your spirit is here, your body is here. We are all divided. Come back home. The work ahead, the journey ahead, you can only do it when you align your heart with your mind, your dreams, aspirations. You train your mind, you train yourself, you connect the two, and you're able to be a force to pursue everything you want. So that's the gift. The gift of this is to build the future and the life you want. It's in your hands. Okay? Your life is in your hands. Don't give it to anybody. don't allow anybody to tell you who you ought to be, how you ought to be, what is this, what is that. No, no, God didn't give. They have their own life. Let them go and figure. You figure you. It's enough. It's enough. You do you. You figure you. You see this one, God and me. And then when you do all this work, you will have more to share. You see, people are depleted, frantic, everywhere, scattered, here, disorganized, disrupted. Come back home. It's with emotional intelligence you're going to come back home. And the intelligence is the knowledge of what's going on within you and having the skills and capacity to navigate life in a wholesome way, right? That is ultimately to your overall well being, right? That's what it will give to you. And now, out of that, if you're an entrepreneur, because even the journey of entrepreneurship, you need to manage your own emotions and the emotions of others. So, out of that, you can better serve people. Because when I taught in the sales, emotional EQ for sales, I also tell you, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur now your gift to your clients is what I'm giving you now. Is to manage that, to make them now feel. This is why I always say Christians are the best people to do this business stuff well, because it's excellence in service. Once you are in a good space, trust me, whoever wants to be greatest among you, you will serve. Now you can serve. Because what are people looking for? They're looking for answers. They're looking for love. They're looking for wellness. They're looking to feel good again. So whether you're in luxury, you're selling, luxury goods, or you're in coaching or in program, your program is an emotional solution. Let me tell you that. Right? So for example, my school, it's an emotional solution because lack of knowledge is very chaotic. Lack of knowledge is stressful. When you don't know what you're supposed to do, how can you calm down? So your solution is an emotional resolution. And I covered this. So you have to whatever programs you are presenting. Listen, when people are losing sales on and on and on. Now this is more on the technical side of business. Trust me, until you can listen to people and connect with them and really understand what they need, you can't serve them. Not anymore in this world. People are not buying anything that is not like when you tell, oh, buy this, buy that. No, 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 no. I'm not. Who wants to buy? No, you have to tell us how this is going to make my life better, because that's what we're all looking for. We're all buying well-being now. Okay, that's another topic. Go take the emotional intelligence bundle. There are 3 courses in there. Life changing. This is it. 2024. It's about emotional intelligence, because the state of the world economically, there's more pressure being put on people today. And trust me, if you don't do this work, people will suffer for, right? Because you'll be tossed. That's what Bible talks about, being tossed by the wave of the sea, left, right. Today is this, today is that, and where the news go, you go. You're scrolling on social media. Your heart and mind is being controlled by all these things. You're happy, you're not. You're depressed, you're not. Anxiety. Regulate yourself. Right? We have to protect our minds, guard our hearts, apply filters. Bible says a city without walls. Listen, don't be a city without walls. You cannot rule your life and achieve success without your own dominion, right? Without being in charge of your own being. And when you are not in charge of your being and there's a disconnection between mind and body, you make room for everybody to be controlling you. Systems will naturally control you. They will tell you who to be, what to say, where to go, when to wake up, when to sleep. You're no longer in charge. So this is also part of taking charge and being more in the driver's seat of your life. I've said a lot. I've said a whole lot. Thank you so much. I'm wrapping up now. Team replay, drop a comment. Let me know if this is your first time ever. Let me, give me feedback. People who have been here, they know what to expect already. Okay, they know what to expect. So we're very, like, listen, I'm very fierce with the truth, because that's how I engage for myself first. I'm sharing this with you out of what I use for my own self. And so if you find it useful, use it. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I wish you the very, very best.